You guys know me. I'm Dr. Goggin. You can call me Sunny, and I'm here with the CEO and founder of SNiP Nutrigenomics. And she is changing the way people feel from the inside out with her incredible company that I don't want to spill the beans on all the things that this does, but what she's doing is make it easy for you to hack your genes to be able to respond to where you are already starting, right? What you got in your DNA, and make it easy, make it affordable, make it very personalized for you. I mean, as a woman who's taken a ton of supplements in her life, that's me. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to talk to Kim. Also, Kim's going to tell you a little bit more about it, but make sure that you stick around. We're going to be giving tips all the way through. And Kim, welcome. Hey.
Hi, Dr. Goggin. It is so great to be here with you. So thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's start here. Let's start with how in the world did you find yourself in what? So tell us a little bit about SNiP Nutrigenomics and what is a SNiP and why do we care? Okay.
Do you want to first know how I found myself in this whole arena?
Yeah, start there. Okay. That's a good spot.
Okay. Well, let's start there.
Okay.
I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist. I'm pretty much self-taught. And the reason for everything that I do know, and I did go deep down the rabbit holes because I went undiagnosed and misdiagnosed for 11 years with not one, but two autoimmune conditions. And, I think there's so much out there. It's like that confusion of where do I look? What do I look at? This person tells me this person tells me that. And believe me, I did it. I tried everything for years. And then you're just going, I don't feel well. It doesn't maybe show in my blood work, but you're going, which way do I turn? And you're feeling like lost hope. And is this just what aging is about? And as a girlfriend had shared with me about a gene that she was relentless, that she was not going to put her son on a medication. And she thought it was some of his behaviors. And she thought that it was one specific gene. And I watched and I said, you've got to tell me the outcome of this. And they did address, they found and they addressed a methylation gene. And we can talk more about that later. But I said, what was the outcome? She goes, night and day difference of the kid. And I go, wow. And
from
again,
taking nutrition and supplement is from
supplement. It was supplements, yes. But I also watched in 9 months, I watched her spend $10,000 to get to arrive to this. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, genetics are complicated and confusing. I just like, wow, that's fascinating though, that one gene or one pathway in our body could impact this child's behavior. And it was in a format that his body could absorb and utilize. So it's like a biohack instead of, anyway, and I know we'll get through that, but that's what originally, what opened my eyes to nutrigenomics, which is nutrition based on your own genes. And I was like, that's fascinating. But again, $10,000 in 9 months on one gene, who can do that?
Right.
And at that point, I was spending over $400 a month on adrenal gland fatigue supplements. And I mean, again, we all know supplementation is not, it's not just a slap and you take it and one time it's going to change. Supplementation is a lifestyle, but I still wasn't getting the benefit. And it was because there were other things that I wasn't addressing, but $400 even a month on that. So it's like, what if I have answers that could lie in my genes and et cetera. So that's ultimately what led me to nutrigenomics before I started, and then addressing my genetics and then what happened after that. So my goal is to make it, how do I say, you and I were talking, Dr. Goggin, and you said that there are some amazing companies out there and you do all this genetic mapping. It's very complicated, confusing, takes you a ton of time. And then you're looking at all of these different, it's so confusing. And I've seen people that could be on 30, 40 plus different supplements. I mean, that's like a sci-fi movie. I mean,
Chasing your tail.
how many different things can you take? How much truly can you afford to continue to take, especially if it's a lifestyle thing? And so yeah, my passion is to be able to bring to market a foundational support hitting multiple body systems, multiple genes, all into one that's cost effective for the masses. If you want the science, you can dive down it. If you want to stay simple, like my husband would say, I just want to know what I need, why I need it, and that's it, and I want it made for me. I don't want to know anything else.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, people, I'm sure people are wondering about, well, taking a supplement for your genes, how can that, and I know you're going to get to it. Um, and that's the nutrition part of it.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more, speak to that a bit if you could.
Okay. So
How can that help?
how can it help? So believe it or not, male, female, we're all about 98 to 99% alike. But we are born with, we're not going to go in and change. What you're born with is what you're born with. But we have something in our bodies called actionable genes. That means science has proven there is plant-based nutrition or that can literally nutritionally create action to help the gene function or have the propensity to function optimally. So I would be happy to give an example. So a lot of people have heard of CoQ10 energy, right? We have a gene that encodes what form of CoQ10 you need. Some people can absorb ubiquinone. Some people can need ubiquinol. Some people need a combination of both. And it's all about what your genes show you. CoQ10 is an amazing ingredient. It helps with heart health, energy, etc. And a lot of people take it, and I always hear people going, "Oh, you need this." Until you know what your own genes are, how do you know that one's the right one for you? So that is ultimately what nutrigenomics looks at is your gene, and then we match it with all of the science behind of why specific plant-based nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients that an individual may need in the right dose, in the right format, made just for the individual. And we do this on multiple actionable genes. So ultimately what we're doing, a way that so when we're talking to people will talk about, let's talk about detox pathways. We don't usually come out of we aren't born with high inflammation or different, unless it's a rare genetic condition, right? We're not born with these things. And as we go through life, again, supplementation is one spoke in the wheel. But as we go through life, if we have these propensities for these pathways to not work, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the nutrition, etc., they all start working together. But if we aren't doing the proper things to keep those pathways, think about it. Again, you don't have these issues when you're first born. These are things that stop working correctly. And what we are doing is optimizing the genetic expression through the nutrition so the body can do what it needs to do.
Nice.
Is that
Nice. Well, as a functional medicine physician, I see so much suffering due to things we've been exposed to through our lives. And then our detoxification system is supposed to get it out, and it builds up and people get sick. And while it's not something really talked about yet in conventional medicine, it certainly will be in the future. And the detox pathways are so, so important, right? I feel like those are the big emergencies for me is when people's detox systems aren't working. Like constipation is a huge functional medicine emergency because that's a big detox pathway.
absolutely?
But some of these SNPs we're hearing a lot about in the anti-aging field. We're hearing a lot about methylation, that process is working well, and ways that you can use lifestyle to actually start to express younger genes, right? And so I'm imagining that if you're addressing your unique genetic SNPs, that you might even see changes in your genetic age if you looked at methylation labs. I don't know if you guys are starting to do that yet, but that would be interesting.
That would be great. We have not as of yet. What I do for myself, again, like I said, I had been going along trying to find answers to my own health issues for literally 11 years. You name it, I tried it. And when I did address my genetics, it was literally click, 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 energy, sleep, digestion, etc. I didn't even know I had one, but two autoimmunes at the time. And what I started tracking to know where I was at, I was tracking my blood work.
Right.
So I would track my blood work to see where everything was at, where, whether it be your CMP, your CBC, your vitamin D levels, things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's all that, the average person, that's really all that you have. And the new labs that are coming out, the methylation panels, the DNA age. There's a great book called Younger You by Dr. Kara Fitzgerald. I really appreciate that because she talks about a methylation diet and how if you eat to optimize methylation, which is going to be an adjunct, if you're supplementing to optimize and you're eating for methylation, you should start to see a younger biological age in your blood, actually, guys. So you can check this. And it's so nice that you're also making it accessible and affordable for people, right? You talked about, so how did I mean, you saw the problem. I'm just always curious, how does somebody think, I'm going to start a company? I'm going to go do this. How did that all go?
Oh, well, I think the thing is I saw the difference that it made in my life. And I saw the difference it made in others' lives. And it wasn't just addressing one specific area. So it's been difficult. This is a totally different mindset. This isn't, oh, I take this and I take this and I take this. This is foundational support, hitting a lot of body systems, heart health, detoxification, inflammation, and understanding that no gene plays alone. So how did it all come to fruition? It was a lot of growing. It was a lot of growing. I mean,
buddy,
that's
I want to get
real.
granular. I'm like, okay, I've got this idea. So you must have gone and talked to a physician, somebody to be a partner with you, or somebody to. Did you? I mean,
I have consulted with hundreds of physicians,
right,
from
right. I mean,
cardiologists to genetics doctors to and understanding of how we continue to move this forward.
yeah.
The ability to formulate into one, because what we end up creating is something called code complex. And code complex is created right now on 19 actionable genes. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be formulated on 22 actionable
That's a
genes.
lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So so you check all those genes to see whether or not people have issues. And then
Yep.
depending on their outcomes, you determine what you're going to put in a special, unique supplement just for them.
Correct. And it literally is custom
Oh
compounded
my gosh.
just for the individual.
And you've talked to hundreds of doctors to help you like make sure that you're covering things correctly and so that you've got
Yeah, and not just that, it's all of the science. I mean, there are tons and tons. There's been a lot of research done about a gene, let's say a specific gene and specific nutrients. So let's just say we are looking at the APOB gene, which has to do with healthy lipids, also the integrity of the cell wall, how it repairs and communicates. And there's very specific studies that talk about artichoke extract and different plant-based nutrition that can literally come in, and it's almost like it fills in the gap to help optimize if you've got the propensity for that gene to have issues. it's all based on science. So we go gene by gene by gene by gene, telling you all the science of why these nutrients, why this format, why this dose. And then we put it all into one.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, how many pills will I have to swallow?
How many pills?
Yeah.
Well,
Tell me, everybody wants to know. They're like, well, okay, so a couple times a day, or usually what's the average there in the
we got it
formula?
locked down pretty good because we have a base that is full of a
Right.
ton of plant-based nutrition. So that's a variable that gives us this ability to formulate just for the individual.
Yeah.
It is 2 scoops of powder raw.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's about 2 teaspoons if you do it in powder.
Mhm.
And if you do it in veggie cap format, those 2 scoops equate to 10 veggie caps.
Okay.
So
Well, that's
people
not
can
bad
do,
at all.
but they can do, so yeah, twice a day, 5 morning, 5 lunch. And then I really like to walk people through. We didn't get sick overnight. We don't heal overnight. I have watched some amazing things. Some people need to, I think this is the complication with genetic mapping is they first start you on one thing and then they start you on the next. And then suddenly you're on 6 and then you move to 12 things. Yes, we're coming in doing it together, and it is interesting. You get somebody's pathways working. Some people have to go slow. They have to slowly step into this. So don't take the full dose. And, there's tons of videos that talk about all these things and education that we create of understanding, yeah, I'm that sensitive person. I need to go slow. I didn't get sick overnight and I'm not going to heal overnight. This is slowly getting these pathways to function optimally.
Right. Sort of gradually getting the crank going in the clients that I have who are very toxic, that they tend to have lots of symptoms in many systems. You must go slow, otherwise they're like, it's like they don't feel good, and they're like, "What did you do?" One of my mentor doctors would say, "You must have thrown them under the bus. What did you give them?" Right? Because too much can be too
Right.
much. So,
Well, I once had, we had a client who's a personal friend, and she was so excited because the way that we do custom formulate for an individual, your name is on the jar. We aren't picking things off a shelf for you and then putting them in. No, no, no. We literally run and customize for the individual. She was so excited to see the jar, and we had talked, and I said, you need to go slow. I see in your genetics, as we talked about, her lifestyle, although, very active. Movement is so important in all of this. I mean, everybody knows we've got to move our bodies, but she was so excited to see the jar, and it kind of went out of her head to start slow. And
right.
she takes a full dose and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you weren't kidding." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's powerful. It's you need to start slow." And she's like, "Yeah, I definitely did." And sometimes when you start opening up pathways that haven't worked before or haven't been optimum, you feel some detox symptoms.
Yeah, you build up those intermediates, and sometimes they can get stuck and create you a person who doesn't feel so great.
Exactly.
But it's so nice to have. I mean, I have done those DNA interpretations before, and they've taken me forever. I mean, literally hours. I would sit and I'd be poring over many SNPs and trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. And this just sounds like such a relief, relief to me.
Our goal is for the consumer. I
Yeah.
mean, it is truly, when I talk to somebody that is a science, I believe personalization is the future for us. You're not going to wear a size 12 shoe when you wear a size 6. When I do talk to a scientist who tells me that they are genetically swabbing every baby born, because they're going to track the medications they are on through life. Why wouldn't they know right then and there? Methylation turns on and off everything in the body. If you look up the MTHFR, you can see all of the different symptoms that are related to that. It's the anxiety, it's depression. That's what it's related to. If we knew this from a young age and we could just literally start doing the offset, then this is what I believe the future is understanding what are your propensities and
Mhm.
how do you get ahead of them, because we want to live feeling the best that we possibly can.
From the very beginning, right? And
Absolutely.
I think that this with personalization, that would be the only way, right? And
Yeah.
who's going to be brave enough to do that? Maybe you can pioneer that. I'm seriously,
Yeah.
because there's so many things that could probably be avoided if we could keep the detox pathways going from the time that somebody is little.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the MTHFR has gotten a lot of airplay. Many mental health disorders seem to be linked. Chronic fatigue, weakness, neurological symptoms, cardiovascular issues, heart attack, stroke, developmental issues, autoimmune issues, so many issues with that single gene that is one of those actionable genes, right?
It is an actionable
Um,
gene.
yeah,
It
so
absolutely is an actionable gene. And it's a really simple, I mean, when somebody says biohack, that might go, oh, biohack. It literally is just the format of vitamin B that you need, because you can't convert it to the active format in your body. And they say that worldwide, 44% of the population deals with that. And I believe in our population here in the United States, it's closer to between 80 and 85%. So that's
interesting.
a huge amount of people that actually deal with that. But then it's not just the methylation, it's how does my body detox bad cholesterol? What are my inflammation markers? All of these things start working together. That's what the magic and the synergy, when we see this custom formula come out for somebody, that's why I see some really amazing results with individuals.
Hmm. So do you guys have your own chip that somebody will send in their saliva test or something like that? You have your own test.
Oh yeah, we have our
Yeah.
own. We do, because we are looking for very specific. We actually test a lot more genes than our goal is to make this easy for the consumer or to support the provider, so that they can support their patient at a deeper level, right? Just like you
Mhm.
said, it was so complicated. So we're mapping a ton of genes on the nutrition, what we call foundational nutrition, which hits
Mhm.
a ton of different areas that we've discussed. But from there, we actually test. We report on 103 actionable genes. So it gives the individual. It gives them a little bit more insight. They could go if they were having specific, or it helps the provider. Let's say you're dealing with a client that wants, you want to dive deeper than just foundational. You have ability to do that with the actionable genes. It's very specific, yes, very specific ones.
Nice. And do you give people some nutritional recommendations and lifestyle recommendations as well, or is it really just limited to supplement?
Um, so we do both. One, we tell them exactly what's going to be in their supplement, why it's going to be. We attach all the science. We're very transparent. Quality of ingredients is of the utmost important. Everything's third-party tested multiple times. Anyway, and from there, yes, we break out of these 22 genes. We break them out in one report to tell you what you need and why you need it. And that's our code complex report. But from there, just like I said, these genes play different roles. And some may play a role in mood, cognitive and brain function,
Mhm.
detoxification, inflammation. So we break them out into body systems. And so then that way, what we've found that maybe your blood work looks normal, but you have these symptoms. And very much so, they align with the body system reports. From the body system reports, yes, we lifestyle, certain types of exercise, things to consider eating. If you want to track your results, or if you are having specific issues in a certain area, we tell you maybe what blood work to recommend or to request from your provider,
Right. Follow
things
it.
like that. So yes, we love to. One thing is not the end all be all. It's not. We need to move our bodies, maybe red light therapy, certain things, our mindset's important. How we do eat is important. So yes, we give a lot of different epigenetic lifestyle recommendations.
Beautiful. Oh, well, I mean, it's wonderful to have a resource such as that. I'd like to be able to, refer people. And so I know that you've also included in at the bottom of the video, you're going to find that we've got the contact for Kim. And I'm going to talk with Kim about whether or not this might be something that we're going to add into the Feel Good family. I'm really excited about exploring that a little bit more. And so, what are the big points that you'd want somebody to know, just like to kind of summarize, and anything extra that we haven't really covered?
Well, I think a big thing is health and wellness is so complicated that there's so much noise out there. I
Mhm.
think starting with ourselves, understanding the what and why about ourselves before we go on any of these journeys of you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. Even if you ever said, "Hey, I want to see and why," I bring it into one that is affordable.
Yeah.
But if you just want to see, knowing what you need, where your propensities are to have issues, that, in my opinion, is the most important thing. We want to make it simple. We
Mhm.
want to make it simple that you're not doing what I did for years. I went, vegan, this, that. I tried all of these things. I
Right.
might feel a little bit better, but nothing had the stay power.
Yeah.
And even if I was doing everything epigenetically correctly, whole food diet, you name it, I couldn't eat enough folate, leafy greens, to offset certain things. I need support. We know that food's depleted. So just in general, I think that's number one. Understanding your own body first. It's almost like this aha. And
Yeah.
it's not scary. What
Right.
it is, it's like you care about yourself to know, and it didn't cost you $10,000 to get there.
Uh, right, right. Well, sometimes people, they're doing all the right things, right? They may be eating well, following their, providers' good advice. They're getting exercise, they're meditating. And, even with a nutritional, good nutritional plan, they're not getting adequate X, Y, Z because of this SNP that they have.
Right.
And for those people, I think if we're talking to you, you're doing all those things. This is a path, certainly to try. And in functional medicine, we start with all the lifestyle interventions first, right? Try and get people moving, eating well,
Yeah.
because we know that will influence these pathways we're talking about too. But if you need a nutrient, guys, you just need the nutrient, right? That's
Well,
there's
and
yeah,
we know that food is depleted of the nutrients from years
right.
prior.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter how clean you eat. And some people can truly do it just with food.
Yeah.
There is no way I could get what I need um, just through food. I need too many things.
Right, right.
But instead of me taking, it is funny. I laugh when I see somebody's showing me that they've got, I don't laugh, but I do laugh, 30 different supplements. It's like the sci-fi movie. And you're going, okay, these are before breakfast. These are with breakfast. These are after. These are before lunch. These are with. And I've even seen people upwards of 70 and 80 supplements a day. I'm sorry, that's crazy.
That's a lot. Well,
That's
that's
crazy.
that's desperation. That's somebody that really wants something to be different, and they're trying everything. And I think that when you get up to those really intense regimens, for instance, like when somebody's trying to reverse memory loss and they've got a million supplements, they're trying to do something different. And many times those people are trying to do things that we in medicine have thought are impossible, such as reversing Alzheimer's, which, I'm happy to say, you guys, if you haven't read The End of Alzheimer's, you got to read it. Because in some people that can be improved, or they're trying to reverse age, right? And they're taking everything, the kitchen sink, to trying to reverse age.
And there is something called toxicity.
There's
There is something
definitely,
called toxicity.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes kidneys really don't like all of those supplements, and simplicity is nice. There have been times because I used to be pretty sick, and I was taking a lot of not 70, but I was taking a lot of supplements, and it was desperation. It was like, oh my gosh, my brain is gone. I'm gonna have to quit medicine. What am I gonna do? And thank goodness for functional medicine, biohacking, biotechnology
Hmm.
saved me. And it's this kind of thing that most people don't know about it yet. And because your conventional physicians don't really talk about it yet.
Right.
Yet.
Well, that's the thing. And there's so much noise about this for this and this for this. Start with you to understand you and your propensities first.
Yeah.
And it's an aha moment because you see, we all say it. I mean, oh, I am predisposed to that because that was my parents, that was my grandparents, etc. But if you know this stuff is actionable and there's simple things you can do, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people think, "Oh, I'm that way because my parents were that way." So, y'all,
Right.
you got to think about this for a second. It may be that your parents had these SNPs, or it may be you lived in the same house and you were exposed to the same toxin, the same sick air. And so, everybody, yeah, bipolar disorder, or I mean, some of these, especially the mental health issues are sometimes they seem inherited, but it's not like actionable, as you say, actionable.
It is actionable. And that is what's really cool is that literally, okay, so there's a gene. Can we talk about one gene really
Oh
quick?
yeah, yeah, please, let's hear
Okay.
it.
There's a gene, it's called the FTO gene. It is the body mass index gene. And we know that when you have one marker, so when we report, we don't give it to you scientifically, wild, heterozygous, homozygous, we just tell you no variant one, variant or two, just to make it easy to understand. But when you have one marker on that, you have the propensity to eat 25% more calories than the average person. It's almost like it's that satiety responsiveness. And we know that. And well, if there are in specific plant-based nutrition that can help with that you not overeating, that's why it's called the obesity gene. And we know that, and we can literally shift your trajectory by taking a specific nutrient that's plant-based.
Wow.
And so you don't eat as much. And it's very interesting
Oh,
to see this.
that's very cool. Well, I want to share my screen, you guys, and just show you this one thing. Okay, so this is vitamin C and D exhibit similar antidepressant effects to escitalopram. And that's an antidepressant, guys. And this is June 2023 from the journal Nutrients. I just think that it's important for all of you to understand if you have problems with focusing. So many times my children say, I have this issue with focusing, and that's why I can't do it. I'm like, it could be a nutritional deficiency. Like, where are the vegetables, right? Like, but this is important to recognize is that things, cognitive issues, mental health challenges, focus challenges, they really may be related to something in your genetics that's easily treatable with either a supplement or good nutrition.
Absolutely.
Wait, oh man. Well, Kim, starting with yourself first, I think that's a great place. Know thyself. You got to put on your own oxygen mask first before you can help the other people.
You're right. Know yourself first of the what and the why. I mean, that takes from instead of everybody else's recommendation of what you need to do, start with you.
Right. I love it. Well, that's a good message. And I thank you so much for your time. This has
Oh, Linda,
been
it was
wonderful.
it was great. I appreciate the work you do of sharing the message with individuals because ultimately, if you get to the root cause, and avoid pharmaceuticals or avoid, I mean, what is life worth living if you don't feel well. I mean, we know that if it's chronic fatigue, chronic, terrible sleep, all of these things start coming together. And if we can get ahead and get these small things starting to line up,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just, when you feel better, you do better.
That's right.
Feel
Well,
better, you eat better. You're more likely to get exercise and make wiser choices. It is just a full circle.
yes, yes, I love it so much. Well, most of us, we all want to be healthy, but we don't want to be healthy just for health's sake. We want to be healthy so we can have fun with friends and family, and we can grow and contribute. And those are really what people want. We don't want to just be healthy. We want to be healthy so we can have a really and fulfilling life. And I can tell that you are making a huge difference, and I appreciate your work with bringing this into people's understanding and having it available for people. So thank you so much, and thanks for your time.
Oh,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
say bye to our streamers. Bye, you guys.
Thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, definitely. See you guys on the next live.